I'm Daniel Veksler, and I'm here to help you understand Russia better and without bias. Most Russians declare themselves to be Russian Orthodox Christians. The Russian Orthodox Church was adopted in Russia as a state religion in the 10th century, when several pagan Russian duchies were unified under Prince Vladimir in the then new capital of Moscow. Though Vladimir had considered several options for a new state religion, including Islam, Judaism, and Buddhism, he went with the Eastern Orthodox Christianity then being practiced in Russia's largest and most powerful European neighbor, the Byzantine Empire. The enormous empire saw itself as the continuation of the Roman Empire, with its new capital in Constantinople, which is today the Turkish Muslim metropolis of Istanbul. Throughout the Middle Ages, Russians adhered to the Julian calendar, which is based on the Old Testament and corresponds to the biblical rendition of the creation of the universe rather than the birth of Christ. Right now, in the Jewish calendar, it is the year 5776. The months and days of the months differed as well. Medieval Russians celebrated Christmas on December 25th according to the Julian calendar. The New Year was a separate celebration held on September 1st. In the late 17th century, however, the radical reformer, the first emperor of Russia, Peter I, known in the West as Peter the Great, changed everything. As part of his profound and radical campaign to Europeanize Russia yet again, he decreed that from now on Russia would adhere to the Gregorian calendar, which counts the years beginning at the birth of Jesus Christ rather than the creation of the world. Since it was customary to celebrate Christmas for a week straight anyway, Peter also threw in a new rule that the new year would be celebrated on January 1st instead of September 1st. What can I say? The guy really knew how to party. In 1699, New Year's was celebrated twice in Russia, once on September 1st and once again on January 1st. By the way, today, September 1st is still a big national holiday. It is the first day of school and is called Children's Day. Peter and the monarchs who followed him throughout the 18th century were really into Central European culture. In fact, Catherine the Great, the longest ruling monarch in Russian history, was altogether German. That is how the medieval tradition of installing a Christmas tree inside the house became popular in Russia. There is a further complication, however, because unlike the West, the Russian version of the Gregorian calendar does not add a day in February on leap years that end in 2 zeros. Therefore, the Russian Gregorian calendar lags behind the Western one by 1 additional day each century. In 1700, when the new calendar was first adopted, it lined up perfectly. By 1800, however, it was a day off. When communists took power in 1917, they never really officially canceled Christmas. It's just that it became prudent for Russians to say they were celebrating the more neutral New Year's rather than the religious Christmas. According to old custom, it was all part of the same celebration week anyway, so what difference did it make? By then, however, the Western Gregorian calendar had moved back 10 days. To adjust the new Soviet calendar to world standards, the communists canceled the first 13 days of February 1918. 13 and not 10 because by then the difference due to the dropping of leap years at the beginning of each century had increased the lag of the Russian calendar from 1 day to 3 days. 10 plus 3 equals 13. The Russian Church, however, has never recognized the communist calendar reform. Therefore, the Russian Orthodox Church celebrates Christmas on January 7th, 13 days after December 25th, as recognized by the rest of the world. And the Russians also have another celebration called Old New Year's, held, you guessed it, on January 13th. Russians really party on New Year's. The whole country is on vacation from late December until January 10th, and boy do Russians know how to celebrate. They also have a Santa Claus. His name is Grandfather Frost. Though his religious significance has been neutralized, he too is based on Saint Nicholas, a Slavic saint. He comes down the chimney and brings bags of gifts, which he leaves under the Christmas tree. Russians use this time to be with their families and friends. Many urban Russians spend it in their country houses, called dachas. I'm going in a few days. I haven't celebrated New Year's in Russia since 1989, when I was a child. My school and various city organizations hosted New Year's concerts and masquerades. My mother made me little costumes, and we would attend these festive events where I would mingle with other children and we would dance around the tree and exchange presents. Adults would dress up as Grandfather Frosts and visit schools and sometimes even homes. Like all Soviet society, adults and children of all races and creeds were welcome at these celebrations, which were designed to build a sense of community, unity, and identity. I can't wait to experience this warm and bright holiday once again as an adult. Happy upcoming New Year, and I'll see all of you next year on Understand Russia.